Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Game Junk Podcast, episode 246. We're recording on Monday, September 8th, 2025. My name is Frank.
My name is Sean.
And my name's Andrew.
And on this week's episode, we will be giving our initial thoughts on Game of the Year, potentially, Silksong. Now, is it Silksong or Hollow Knight Silksong?
Definitely Hollow Knight Silksong.
Okay, don't love that. I wish it was called Silksong. But
all anyone calls it is Silksong. But.
And we will also be giving us our thoughts on last week's State of Play, 007 First Light. And that'll pretty much be it. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Doing real
Not
good.
too bad.
All right. Well, let's just get into Hollow Knight Silksong, the follow-up from Team Cherry to one of the most popular games of all time is finally out. I've played about 5 hours. I'm like 3 or 4 biomes in, a couple bosses. Where are you guys at?
Probably not quite that far. Maybe 3 hours, 2 bosses in, something like that.
I'm about half an hour in, beat the first boss, I think. And that's where I stopped shortly after that.
Big kind of creature?
No, it was like a moth. Might have been a mini boss.
Yeah, okay. Might just be an enemy, but...
Might just be an enemy. It like locked me out and had a health bar at the top. I think that was like some sort of boss.
Okay, yeah, that counts for sure.
That was the first boss.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I just say, before we get started, I believe I pre-rated this at 95 out of 100. And I just checked Metacritic. Now, it doesn't have a Metacritic score yet, but it's got 3 scores, all 100s. So I'm on pace to be real close to my 95.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is interesting in the sense that it's such a big game and they did not release it early to critics at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, no reviews really out there to, we can't really talk about what people are saying because there's nothing out there. But the other thing is there's no guides yet, which is a huge factor for a game like this. And I personally, coming back to Hollow Knight after setting it aside years ago, I was happy to have a guide because this is the kind of game I want to use a guide for. But anyway, we'll get into it.
Well, in terms of what people are saying, and I want to talk about the guide thing specifically with this one. Placed that on PC, it's all 100s. On PlayStation 5, there's a 90, an 85 on Xbox Series X, Switch 2, 198, 95. And
okay, I was looking at PC.
Yeah, so there's a little variance, but I almost don't even need to know what people are saying. This is a game where I know what people are going to say. They're going to say it's amazing no matter what. They're like completely blind to any, what I believe are obvious flaws with this game. Not that it's bad, not that I hate it or anything like that, but it suffers from a lot of the same, I think more issues than the first game. I think so far I prefer the first game, but we'll get into some of those feelings. But I just know no one will be critical of this game. It is like this
Mario-esque.
It can do no wrong, but the difference is Mario games are always good. Their focus is on fun in gameplay. Even one of those 10 out of 10 reviews you're talking about tells me everything I need to know. From Gaming Bolt, challenging, frustrating, invigorating, and oh so fulfilling. It's all buried in that statement. Frustrating being the key word at times. But we'll get into it. I've played more, so you guys, maybe Huck, you've played the least, so you can give some initial thoughts.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I obviously barely scratched the surface, but I think we talked about last week or whenever we were kind of mentioning it was coming out, we were talking about how you hit a guy and there's like a knockback on your character. I'm finding that hard to get used to and also hard to judge like how much stick deflection I can use on each guy to not go too far back before I can swing again. And sometimes I find I like swing and I'm holding forward and then I like run into the guy instead of, keeping my distance enough to take another swing first, or maybe it's just a timing thing I'm having some issues with. I think I just need to play more. I don't really think that's a real criticism. It's just a little different than most other games, I think. And I had my biggest problem was I thought the boss I played was fun. It had like a pretty recognizable pattern that, it took me 2 or 3 times to kind of get and finish. But for me, the big problem is like the onboarding and I guess you could call it like the first time user experience where you have like this map, it's a Metroidvania. Usually in my mind, I want the first area to be very linear or just like slight variations that, like, Metroid, you go left, you get the morph ball. You cannot leave that area until you get the morph ball. It's very obvious what you have to do. There's only one thing you can do. It's flashing. You grab it, you turn into a ball, you're out of there kind of thing. This one I find like, even on like the first couple screens, there's like multiple options to leave the screen. I don't know if I should go up or right. It says basically you should go up. Like you're trying to get out of this pit essentially. So of course I go right and then I end up like where I think I'm supposed to be. So like, should I now backtrack and go to the spot that went up? Did I miss something? Is this like just another path? This is just like 2 paths to the same thing. It's just very almost like overwhelming for a first time player essentially as to like where to go. Cause there's no map. I can't see where I've been. I have to keep like a mental image of where I've been in my head essentially. And then I finally get up to like the first village you get to or whatever. And I kind of am just like exploring around. I see this like hole in the floor. I'm like, okay, I'll drop down there. And it drops me like right back to the very beginning of the game with like no iconography, no signage, no nothing. And now I got to climb my ass.
You got to do the whole
and no
thing
shortcut.
again.
Now I got to climb my ass. You know what I did? I fucking shut off my machine and then just reloaded the save because I'm like, there is no way in hell I'm climbing this hole again. This is the stupidest shit. Why did they put this here? And like from a design perspective, from a player's perspective, why would I ever want to go back down that hole? Does anyone know? Is there stuff down there? Is there like secret paths? I knew I broke some walls that were like secret paths, but
from like shortcuts and map connectivity issue for like revisiting areas and stuff like that. But I did the same thing and I was very frustrated.
Yeah.
And
okay, maybe if you had a fast travel then back to the village, okay, whatever, no big deal. You fall down, you didn't want to go down there, you could fast track to the village. But now I had to walk all the way back up this giant cliff or whatever hole.
Well, and this is where I know what people. That's Hollow Knight. You get used to it. That's and I mean to be fair, It is a bit of a hybrid between a Souls-like and a Metroid-like, and I think maybe a little more Souls-like than Metroid-like for the most part. I mean, the map is there, but the spirit of gameplay and its punishment and frustration is much more attuned to a Souls-like, and I think people who love this game love it as a Souls-like more than a Metroid-like. But just to speak on the first area, I kind of disagree in some regard with the having many choices as to where you can go in that first area and it not being linear. I do kind of like that in a way. We've talked many times about how like the defining aspect of a Metroid-like is exploration and discovery. So I think it's encouraging that, and it is a little more frustrating because you don't have a map and you're just kind of going in blind at the beginning. But I mean, I kind of think so far this game does a better job of rewarding exploration than the first game, because I would play the first game and everywhere I would go, I like to explore everything. And I would go somewhere and it's a blocked off thing, some power I don't have yet. And this game, at least at the beginning, I'm exploring and I'm finding very few like, oh, dead end, way less dead ends. And when I explore, I'm finding things that are useful and meaningful. And at least the initial level design isn't super confusing to me. And the first few areas, in terms of like complexity of map design, is on the low end compared to some of the early Hollow Knight stuff in terms of rooms and interconnectivity. I think they've done a good job of ease to some degree, easing the player into the Hollow Knight experience, or I should say Silksong experience. Not that I don't have other complaints, but yeah, I'm with you on a lot of those thoughts. But just for positives, I think the main positive that goes back to Hollow Knight and this is just like vibe and lore and sound and boss design, I think are the highlights. And
or character designs in general.
yeah,
I
the
think,
rest
but
is kind of middling. Like, and we'll get into specifics, and I have very specific thoughts about this.
I was going to ask you guys, like, kind of, why do you think, what was it about Hollow Knight that made it so huge? And this is not like a people are idiots. Like, you know, I like the first Hollow Knight, what I've played of it. Obviously, I have frustrations, and we'll talk more about that. But like, it connected with a lot of people. So I'm trying to understand. Like, I think it was the first merging of Souls-like and Metroidvania.
And to my recollection, the first 2D Souls-like, or something like
Maybe,
that.
yeah.
I mean, really, let's just call it a Souls-like. The Metroid-like term, it has a map, and so it's a like Metroid in that sense. But really, a lot of Souls-likes are like you do loops and make shortcuts and connect a large map in a lot of these games too. Some are more linear, like your Neos and stuff like that. But the From Software games, I think it literally was using Dark Souls and Demon Souls. Well, no, Dark Souls as a template, because Demon Souls is really linear. And it's like it's borrowing two elements. Obviously, the difficulty of combat and the economies of a Souls-like, and the lack's a bad word to use. The immersive and diegetic storytelling where people build wikis and about the lore of this game that I don't even notice when I'm playing it. I just think like the characters are cool and they have funny voices and they sing songs and I like the vibe. But like, I think it borrowed heavily from a game that people love, and it just satiated that in a 2D cheaper form to some degree. And I get it. I like it, but this game suffers from a lot of the same flaws, which I'm surprised by, that they didn't improve some things.
Yeah, I mean, like I think you're right, but like, you know, again, it comes back to the mainstreaming of the Souls-like genre, which has been going on the last few years, and I'm kind of perplexed at that too, to be honest with you. Like, Elden Ring was pretty huge. Like, I enjoyed some of Elden Ring, but like, I think to myself, like, I consider myself a pretty average gamer, as I say. The average to casual people that are picking up Elden Ring, potentially picking up Hollow Knight, Silksong, like, how are they, like, are they beating these games? I find that hard to believe, but, you know, maybe they're just enjoying, you know, the first 10 hours like me. That's fine. But I just, you know, the fact that this was the most wish listed game on Steam, that it brought servers down when it launched, like, I don't get, why is it so huge? I don't get it.
I don't get it either. But I have to say, I was speculating at the cost last time we recorded, and the fact that they're only charging $20 for this, I have to give
it is
them
like 20.
massive props. Like, they could have gouged people easily for $50 for this game or more, I think, based on the demand. And I am really impressed by the lack of greed by the developers here. It really should be more should be said about this than is being said. And these games just keep going up and up and up for small experiences. And the fact that they committed to like $20, I could not give them more credit, Team Cherry. That is a very nice thing to do.
Yep, I agree. Just to bring it back to the opening of the game, I was going to say I thought it was a little more accessible to start than the original Hollow Knight, but obviously a lot of familiar frustrations. Huck, did you have more to say about your...
I had one more positive thing to say, actually, I guess, just before you jump in. I actually like I don't know if this is from the first one because I played it so long ago, but I like the combat allows you to charge your like kind of health meter, which is then or your health recharge meter, I guess would be a better way to say that. And then you can use that when at your discretion to heal, which I like. It kind of forces you or encourages you to attack things and beat them up and whatnot and beat them up. That's a good term.
That is in the first game. Just
Is it? Okay, cool.
It takes a little longer though, I think, to hold, and it's like
Isn't it like on a like you do one bar at a time?
So you have to like do like multiple drains at once if you want. So they've kind of combined it into a more fluid process this time, which I think is an improvement.
Okay. Yeah, I like that mechanic. I think it's a smart mechanic. It kind of encourages the player to attack things and engage with the world. So that was kind of like my last point that I had about the game. But I thought the combat was pretty fun in general. Like I thought it's obviously very intentional, let's say, with what they do and how the hitbacks are and your jump height and how far and high you can jump. It all feels very finely tuned and intentional from what I could tell. So overall, I think the combat's pretty fun.
Yeah, and I think, the first half hour to an hour, the enemies aren't, crazy challenging. It's colorful, as we said last week. I think like you start off. I think Hollow Knight does progress to be more colorful, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe I never made it far enough to really see. But like this one starts off very colorful, and obviously, there is a bit of a visual upgrade from the last one. I would say maybe comparable to something like Guacamelee 1 to Guacamelee 2, where it's like more lighting and shadows and just details and
little polish and flourishes of like entering areas. And I agree, like lighting, I'm noticing some pretty cool lighting stuff that I don't remember seeing much of in Hollow Knight 1 or Hollow Knight.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I am enjoying what I've played so far, and I haven't like there was the one, so I did the first boss that Huck did. I did the Bell Beast. And then I hit that one guy who's kind of like a mini boss that just wanders, but he's not, I don't know if he has a name or what he is, but do you know who I'm talking about, Frank?
Not sure.
And so like he kind of killed me a few times, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go a different direction. Now I'm kind of like where the fire ants are, and there's like a sort of a mini boss fight with like like waves of the fire ants. That's kind of where I am. But then I just hit that thing that this is the thing that really turns me off the most is the bench, the save point is pretty far, not that far, but like far enough that you have to fight a bunch of enemies to get back to it. And every enemy in this game can kill you if you're not careful. So it's like I try that boss fight, I die. I'm like, okay, head back. I die again. Now I just lost all my stuff. And that's when I get frustrated. I'm like, okay, I'm turning this off for a while. But I am enjoying it. I know there's so many other games I could be playing, and I'm going to get pulled away soon, very soon.
I've got a similar feeling where I'm not like compelled to keep playing it. I felt compelled so we could talk about it on the show more than anything. Like I'd rather play Shinobi, which I haven't even touched yet, because I really like that demo. But it feels like they're very, as much praise as I'm heaping on them for their prices, they're very stubborn developers. Like, it's like, no, this is what we're going to do and you're going to like it. Even though no other game does it and other games have done it better, this is what we do. And this is my number one biggest criticism with the first game and this game, and I think I can articulate it well now. While the world is interesting and the exploration can be interesting, navigating a room in this game is like not fun. And specifically, while the platforming, like physics and mechanics might be tight, this is my experience playing Hollow Knight and Silksong 40% of the time. Do vertical upward platforming. Come to an enemy that you didn't know was there. Now go back down to the platinum you were on before, jump once, hit it. Land back, jump up again, hit it again, repeat 3 times, and then do it again up the whole staircase. games have found ways to make traversing vertical platforming interesting, fun, and number one, fluid. Like you don't have to do 20 separate tiny actions to chip away up a column of vertical platforms. And then you got to repeat that process over and over again. That's all I do in this game. And like in the first level, when the enemies, a typical Metroid enemy that goes around a platform, like at least in Metroid, you can shoot up or do something to make it, I don't have to jump up and land again and just have those enemies be one-hit kills at the beginning of the game. Like, get me used to it rather than just repeating these actions over and over again. It is not fun. And this should be called out way more in reviews. This is just fundamentally bad level design. It is not. If any other game did this, you would say, wow, it's really a chore to do this. It's kind of average. And any designer's instinct would be like, hey, how do we make this like a more fluid? And now maybe there will be powers later that help with this, but I'm a few hours in and I'm still doing this over and over again. And like how Ori lets you grab enemies and propel yourself and do these things to navigate and use locomotion mechanics with the assistance of enemies. This game just feels like, nah, you're going to love doing the same thing over and over again because we tell you, and you're so dumb that you just think everything we do is great. Like, get real. It is bad. As a game designer, I know a lot about game design. It could be and should be improved to make a more fun game. But their point is not to make it fun, clearly.
Yeah.
It's to appeal to a fan base.
Just a couple quick points on that. So one, there is mantling in this one, which I believe was not in the original.
How the fuck do you mantle?
Like
on a ledge. Sorry, yes.
Pull yourself up to a ledge.
Which I like. That is a welcome change.
Yeah, which I like that as well. But kind of, I was thinking about as you're describing what's frustrating you about it. I mean, I agree, but to me, it ties into the bigger issue of this is a game where you kind of go out exploring and you're very cautious because you don't know what's out there and anything can kill you. So you kind of go out and it's very dark half the time, so you can't see the whole room, and you see an enemy and you're like, okay, immediately backtrack, get some space, and then jab back. Like that's the whole game. Like that's the combat, and like part of it is the knockback thing that we talked about as well. But like it's much more fun to have at least a variety of enemies and attack types where sometimes you're aggressive, sometimes you just run in and bowl them over. Like,
okay, so this is going to get into the kind of addition to this, which I don't know how much you guys have experimented with this, but it becomes very important for platforming, probably in the third area in the game, which is the new. There was an old pogo kind of attack in Hollow Knight, and now it's a diagonal attack. If you hit down on the D-pad and attack, you do a diagonal attack. And it is so hard to aim. And like, I've died and taken damage when I think I'm aiming it right and doing the right thing. This is clearly very divisive if you look at reviews and forums, and it just is not, it does not feel good or fun to do. It's annoying. And every time I do it, there's like this stress of, oh my God, am I going to just like have to do 10 of these and miss and redo this whole area again for some like little platforming jump that should be fun and not frustrating because they decided, you know what, we're going to do a diagonal aim and people are going to love it. And it has potential for offensive attacks. I don't hate it either. Like there are things I like about the diagonal attack, but when you need to do precision platforming with it, which is required in a lot of upcoming areas, oh my God, it just drives me nuts, especially when you lose a bunch of beads because you thought you aimed it right and you just went over top of some thistle you're supposed to bounce off of, and then you navigate up a bunch of thistles just to trigger an enemy. that was hidden, and now you basically have to fall down, fight the enemy, and do that whole thing again. It is, oh my God, I get so angry just talking about it, and I'm like, why am I playing this? Do I feel this need to like this game?
But that's the whole thing with this game. Like, all the articles I'm seeing online, it's like, this boss is crushing people right now. And it's like, well, how is this like what people are excited about? I don't get it. I know some people are.
I will say,
more power to you. But
if I'm going to give credit where it's due, I think the bosses are great, and I actually think they're a lot easier than the bosses I played in Hollow Knight 1 to start the game. Like I've never had to do a boss more than 3 times, I think. And in Hollow Knight, I would have to do bosses many, many times. So I think there's a concerted effort to make the bosses a little more accessible, at least to start, and maybe push extreme difficulties to end game content or 112% kind of things. Like I think it's called the Pantheon or Parthenon in the first, which is like a really hard series of combat challenges. But there's just all these things that, like, now it's those rosary beads instead of gems or geodes in the first one, and they roll everywhere, and then I got to backtrack and redo platforming. I know I can equip something that absorbs them, and it's a player agency choice. Would you rather have your indicator on a map or not make it frustrating to pick up beads? I'll tell you what I'd like, both. Like every other game lets me do both. What do you get by doing that? It's just such an antagonistic design choice that it freaking makes me nuts as a game designer that people praise this. Any game designer on planet Earth could do this. Just, you know what? Things people expect in a game, we'll take it away. And then it'll be so hard for you. It's like, it's so gross. It's gross.
Well, yeah, and that's like, I get people wanting a challenge, but the thing I really don't get is when it's like you're punished upon punished for failing at something. It's just like, why? Like, I don't want to retry this.
And then people I'm enthralled with this game. Oh my God. It does. How could you not have any criticisms about this game? They're everywhere. The dash, getting to positives, the dash is amazing. Like flying through areas with the dash, I love. And it makes exploration so much more fun. But even with that, there is a wrinkle. You have to dash for a certain amount of time. And seems to be a bit of a frame bug as to how soon you can jump after dashing. And it makes even dash jumping frustrating. In addition to that, one of my number one pet peeves in games of all time, ledge jumping that is unforgiving. So like you got to make a decision when you're on a platform, how far can the collider be past an edge that you can jump successfully? When you're doing dash jumping, it is so unforgiving, which would be the opposite of my instinct as a game designer, to make that feel fun and fluid. And if anything, give the player the benefit of the doubt when they're just over a ledge. And I'm pretty sure I know why they don't do that, because it breaks the level design in some areas. So you know what? Punish the player. Our level design's perfect. The audacity of these developers. But it just kind of takes all the steam out of this fun dash when I try to use it. You need to use it to make further jumps. And it's like really hard and frustrating to do. And it makes me, this is why it's a pet peeve. I have to be thinking, oh no, in this game, I have to jump really early. I can't wait late like I do in every other game. This is the game where I have to be so conscious of where I am on a ledge before I jump. And maybe I understand there's people who probably just dedicate their life to this game. They're going to do everything in it. It's all they care about. And that's fine. But for someone who likes to play a lot of games and enjoys lots of level design and genres, it is frustrating. And it's hard to not like just focus on this game 100%, which, and then there's times where you just want to break the game, and I don't want to focus on it because of that. So I don't hate the game. I just get so frustrated because these are such fixable issues, and it is clearly a conscious choice by the developer. They are deciding we want to make this frustrating and punishing, and I just think it's bad. I think that's bad design.
Yeah, I mean, again, it comes back to Souls-like in general and the popularity of that. And I don't know, maybe games were too easy like 10 years ago or something. And when this new wave of games started coming in, people were like, yes, I want to be challenged. I want to have mystery. I want to not have a indicator showing me where to go every second. But like I'm fine with these games existing. I guess for me, the frustration is I love Metroidvania games. I want to love the Hollow Knight games, and I don't. Like it does feel like work playing these games to me. So that's not what I look for.
Yeah, it does feel like work. I agree. And I know that's why people say that's why it's so satisfying when you do things. And I just that's not an enthralling game loop for me personally.
But yeah, just on the diagonal down attack, I also like. I thought it felt cool the first few times I did it, and I was like, "Oh, can't wait to use this." And then I started trying to use it just on regular enemies, and I found that the point of contact is so precise that you just miss, and then they'd walk into you, and you'd get hit every time. Like, make it a bigger hitbox at the end of that thing. Like, I don't get it.
Again, my instinct, I know it's not like, but my instinct as a designer is to favor the player whenever possible. And it feels like we're going to favor the game whenever possible. And it just seems like a bad design instinct to me. Obviously, that's a personal choice. But I agree. I was like, well, maybe this repetitive jump loop I'm doing on platforms to take out enemies is like that's the reason to use the dash and like get good at that. But I tried that, and as Sean said, it's very imprecise, and your targeting has to be pretty much perfect. Now, you can the key to that is wait to do it until you're like really close. Like don't try to do it from far away. Get close to the thing you're trying to hit and do it there, but it just seems like it could be so much more fun. There's so much potential that I hate to harp on this, just seems like an intentional choice to not make it fun.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if you could have, I mean, you could probably have the same criticism of all Souls like games. Like, it is so punishing. Like, I remember playing, Dark Souls 2, or whatever games I played. I don't even remember anymore. But, like, you just turn a corner, you walk down a staircase, and all of a sudden there's like a jelly monster that drops on your head and you're dead. Like, it's just like, why is this fun? Why do people think this is fun? But I think that's like maybe part of it is you're exploring this area and learning the details and what to look for, and like in a very, very like hyper specific method. And maybe people love that, needing to master it at such a like precise detail level. Like even with the jumps, like maybe that's what's fun about it. Like, okay, now I can finally hit with this diagonal attack every time because I've mastered it. It's just like the feeling of mastery that people are striving for, or something like that. That's the only thing I could think of.
Could be, yeah. I mean, like a partial retort to that for me would be comparing it to something like Sekiro or Neo or other Souls likes. That the act of combat in those games is way more fun to me. Like you have dodges, you have power-ups and moves that are super satisfying, like the Makiri counter in Sekiro, and re-exploring an area to get to a boss like is more fun to me in those games because I genuinely just like the combat on its own. This one, individual encounters are like what we described, just kind of chipping away at and like repeating the same actions over and over again, maybe until you get better power-ups later in the game. So the actual main combat mechanics just don't have nearly the level of player agency, satisfaction, and fun factor that other Souls likes have, that make the arduous task of getting to a boss and getting good at the mechanics. It's a more fun process to learn in those games, and I just enjoy the combat more in those. So, but yeah, I think it is, people do get off on the difficulty and mastery of these games.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure I have too much else to say right now. I mean, I do want to keep playing it a bit, but Yeah, I mean, so you wanted to touch on the guide thing, I think, Frank, right?
I did.
Well, you mentioned something about the fact that there was no guides and that was an interesting thing to you or something. But I will say it's kind of interesting just seeing everyone playing this game right now and kind of talking about it and going through it together and not really knowing and not having those guides to rely on, although they're half written already, so it's not going to last very long. But it is kind of cool that they didn't give it to anybody ahead of time. It was just like, we're launching this day, everyone starts from scratch basically. So
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like that idea. It's, again, a little weird where any other game that has or doesn't have reviews or review copies, it's like, oh, well, be careful buying this game. They're not giving review copies out, but for this, that's what makes it good. That's why they're the best, because they don't do that. And it just seems like everything they do, they get the benefit of the doubt. They're like the new version of Nintendo. Team Cherry can do no wrong in any way, cannot be criticized. They make perfect games. Like, get real.
I think the one thing they did say, which I guess makes some sense, is they're I think, was this game backed by Kickstarter or something? Because
It might be. That might be the $20 price tag thing.
it probably is partially, but also, yeah, they said they didn't want to give the game to critics before they gave it to Kickstarter backers. So,
Oh, I wish I had a hero drop on this thing right now.
oh yeah,
But yeah, I know I'm going to keep playing it just to weigh in on it, but I don't really want to. I just want to play something else most of the time, which sucks. Like, why am I doing this? Why am I torturing myself?
that's what I keep asking
Although
myself.
I will say it's less torturous than Hollow Knight was to me. Maybe because I played the first one and done everything. I have some familiarity and idea of how to approach stuff, but just if I just love getting a map. Nothing makes me happier than getting a map and just being able to see where I'm going.
I will admit I was kind of hoping that maybe the map system would be different this time around, but unfortunately it is not.
But other than the drop that Huck and I mentioned, I think the first few areas are a little more manageable than the first, where in the first one you could go so many different directions that just led to blocked passages. They've tightened that up tremendously. So macro level design, much better. Micro level design and combat encounter design, still, not including bosses, still pretty lackluster, in my opinion. I feel like this game's like an 8, something like that at best. But we'll see if I stick with it. Okay. All right.
I still think my pre-review is going to be the most accurate of 95%.
For
in terms of the Metacritic.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it'll be very revealing if that's the case, because to me, it really shows a lack of knowledge of design from current journalists. Like, that's the biggest thing. I'm like, design barely even gets mentioned. Like, the times I got to hear about story and like other elements that, like, difficulty, I see such a lack of specific design criticisms in games these days, and pointing out flaws in systems and economies and all these things. And it just, I don't get it. I don't even know. Like, design is why we play games. If we wanted to have a story, there's better ways of telling a story than games. Like, that is the most important part of a game, the design, and it barely gets addressed anymore.
Yeah, I guess just to bring up one other design related thing, like I saw there was a bit of a discussion happening online about like games that, how did they put it? Respect your time.
Yeah,
So
that's a great way of putting it.
Whether Hollow Knight does or doesn't. And it seemed like a lot of people were pushing back. Well, initially people were like, this game doesn't respect your time. What the hell? But then a lot of people were like, well, it respects your time more than like the Ubisoft open world games where you just grind forever and you get nothing out of it. And I was like, well, I don't think that's really a fair comparison, but
Well, obviously, whether your time is respected is through the owner of the time, whether they like playing it or not. So it's kind of like a fruitless debate. But I I think that's a good way of phrasing it. I feel like this game does not respect my time. And a lot
Yeah.
of games are getting like that now.
Like, I mean, basically, it's you have to dedicate yourself to it, and that's what they expect. So, I mean, I
Now,
guess for some people, that's
if you want a game that respects your time, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Now that's a game that respects your time. Just the fact that that game barely got talked about, and I'm going to hear about this game for the next 6 years, drives me crazy because it's so much better. All right.
oh,
007
Hit the wrong
First
button.
Light. A state of play from Sony that aired last week, and about 36 minutes with some our favorite, extended, uncommented gameplay where you can see if these systems work. Does it feel like a game or does it feel like an on rails presentation? And I thought it was a very compelling look at this game. What did you guys think?
There was one commentary in it. It said, inevitably, dot.
Yes.
But I thought I was surprised by the first 10 minutes, to be honest. I thought it was a little slow. And even at 2.5 times speed, I thought it was slow. So
yeah. I mean,
that's saying something.
I'm fine with that being in the game. I was surprised that's what they were showing.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
just a car
Exactly.
driving
That's what I meant.
and people talking. So yeah.
Well, and then the whole like walking around the outside of the mansion and then going into the mansion and kind of that whole flow is very slow. Like I know they're trying to show it's like, this is like the Hitman-esque, evaluate the environment, puzzle solving, and that's cool and all. I'm a surprise choice, but I guess in terms of the flow of the whole trailer or gameplay experience, it does have a nice ramp up and it goes, from the slow thing up to like more action. I thought the car chase was a little underwhelming and like there just for the sake of spectacle, just because you could see the car in front of you that you were chasing was obviously teleporting great distances to make it a compelling chase or whatever. Like you know that no matter how fast you drive, it doesn't matter, right? Like this guy's never you're never going to catch this guy before whenever they decide the finish line is. And it's going to be pretty far away. The combat also seemed slow to me, like physically slow in terms like shooting, moving. I don't know what it was. Like I thought, like I had it at 2 times speed, and I was like, this seems like I'm at 2 times speed, and this seems like a good pace. So I slowed it down to 1 time speed, and it felt like molasses to me. So that I'm a little concerned about that actually. That it might be a very, very slow game, like plotting game. Instead of a little quicker pace, especially with the Daniel Craig Bond movies, it was kind of like always about like fast running and big jumps and stuff like that. Like it seemed a little faster paced stuff, unless this is supposed to go back to more of like the, early Bond movies where it's like walking and talking to ladies and whatnot. Okay, well, that's what we're going for then. I guess
His hair never gets messed up.
Yeah, I guess the pace is fine. There's like some other like interesting mechanics they showed. But like even when I really thought about the details of them, I was kind of like, this is a little odd. Like I'm thinking specifically about when he's in the plane and they have that like tilt mechanic to tilt the plane and like everything tilts except for you. Like you're perfectly fine, but like everything's flying around like crazy and you're just like perfectly stationary.
Yeah, you can anticipate it. You're doing it.
Oh yeah. You could really anticipate falling out of the sky and moving that way, without holding on to anything, just standing on the ground. But even like his body angle didn't change. He's still like perfectly up and down, even though anyways, whatever. Very like, I almost feel weird bringing it up, but it's like something I noticed, which was strange. And then afterwards they did the more developer walkthrough, which was, I don't have any notes from it, but those are always okay. I if I don't have any notes, then obviously nothing really caught my eye as like bad or good about it. It was just there. So, yeah, I guess it's probably in mine. There was like other little things I noticed that kind of drove me nuts from like a realism standpoint. Like he's on the plane and there's like the enemy that comes out of the top hatch and starts shooting at him with like an SMG, and every bullet is just like spraying in a perfect cone around him and like nothing's touching him. It's like this
Dude,
like
this is
magical
video
bullet.
games. When are
I
you
know.
critical of other games like this?
Hey,
Like,
it was just so obvious, blatantly obvious. Like, I know it happens in Uncharted all the time, but it doesn't feel so blatantly obvious that every single bullet is like, he doesn't have a force shield. Like, like Drake will get hit every once in a while and say, ow. This guy does not. Like, he's got a force shield up. So I don't know. There was like weird things like that that caught my eye, and I agree. Like, this is a video game. Why am I worrying about this? Maybe we've crossed that ledge of like, this looks almost not, I wouldn't say real, but like it's believable. It looks believable, and I'm trying to put like reality into this or something. I don't know. It is stupid to bring up. I agree, 100%.
to be fair, I did notice both of the things you mentioned. Sean, you're Mr. Bond. Like, what do we got here? Was this your most anticipated game, or it was your number one of Summer Game Fest?
It was. I feel like it came down a little bit after this State of Play, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know what would be above it. The first, gameplay section that they showed without the commentary felt very Uncharted. And then I thought when they actually brought the commentary in, that's where they were showing off the Hitman-esque stuff. And I'm kind of into both of them. I think my main criticism would be, I don't know how Bondy the whole thing felt. Like, I'm not crazy about the character design for Bond. I mean, I don't know, just something about it didn't click, but I know they're going for, his first mission. It's a young Bond, all that kind of stuff. And, I'm sure just playing some of the classic themes here and there will help with that. But, yeah, that was my only real thing, is I almost at times was like, this feels more Uncharted than Bond. So, which is fine. I like Uncharted, but I don't know. I did like the hand-to-hand combat. That was kind of a nice addition, just because all the previous Bond games, which are pretty old now, were basically just shooters. So, I don't know. I like that.
I guess I'm alone here. I thought it looked amazing. I thought it felt like a game. I had my doubts about it, and looks like it has great pacing, lots of variety in gameplay. Car, like just driving, chasing, puzzles. Like I'm not a Hitman fan, but I thought the intro puzzle to how to break in, it's like more of a designed puzzle, not the sandbox type of approach that Hitman has, which I know some people love. It's just not for me. But I liked, like, okay, I got to figure out the steps in order to do this. Now that felt a little handheld. I don't know how those hints present themselves if you're playing the game on your own, but I liked that kind of linear problem solving. And I was like, okay, this is more of a puzzle than I thought it was going to be, which I like. When you get to the airport sequence, it is literally Uncharted shooting. I love the idea of License to Kill and them having a way of making you or enforcing stealth versus shooting, which I think is an ingenious idea. And my only worry is I'm not going to be able to shoot stuff enough in this game, because when it was blowing shit up at the airport, and like, now this is my kind of game.
There's a lot of fuel containers just hanging around.
Oh yeah, I mean, it felt like I might never get another Uncharted game. This is the closest I'm going to get, and I was loving it. I'm less convinced with the stealth portions of the game. Like, they did these sequences where they just rewound, and it's like, use a smoke bomb, use this, or I'm like, yeah, that's every stealth game that's ever been made. I don't really need to see this. I didn't think it seemed all that more or less compelling than other stealth games I've played, and which is fine, but I'm worried I'm going to have to do too much stealth. But I think they have a clear intent, for like pacing and variety, which I think is one of the most important things in modern game design. And I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they will manage that stuff appropriately. And a game I was going to buy probably, but now March 27th, 2026, the release date was revealed. I am very eagerly anticipating this game, which I love these kinds of presentations. I can take it in. Imagine I like the economies, how there's like batteries and other things, and how they picked up just walking through a level. You could just swipe things to collect to get your economies back, or resources, I should say. And I thought all that looked very fun, compelling, fluid, and I'm in. I'm 100% in.
Yeah, I would say this is exactly a game I will love. So I was shitting on it, but I will 100% play this game and probably love it and probably give it a 10 out of 10. So all my things are little nitpicks.
Please be 15 hours. If this game is 15 hours,
yes,
it is going to be incredible.
Or 10, even better. 10?
Anywhere in that range, I'd be like, you've done it.
It's going to be more than that, I think. But yeah, I was watching this, having just played Silksong, and was thinking, why can't I be playing this right now instead? But one question, why do you think, is it weird that this was like a Sony state of play? Like, this is a multi-platform game. I'm wondering why Sony is putting, their name behind it.
Yeah, I don't know. They probably just paid for it because it's such a big release to get some association, or there's some kind of deal worked out for promoting the game, which I forgot to say. I'm assuming this is like a ton of the team that worked on the Tomb Raider series, which is like the modern Tomb Raider, which is one of the most underrated and underappreciated
it's amazing
game series of all time. And like their little touches of stealth and player movement, I'm seeing tons of those ideas in here. So I have the utmost faith that this game will be incredible.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. Anything people played that they want to talk about?
Not for me.
I have a couple things. Do you have some stuff, Frank? Well, I guess we could briefly touch on Gears of War Remastered. We did play a little bit of
Reloaded.
that. Reloaded, sorry.
I played on PlayStation. You played on Xbox. It was pretty seamless. We did some co-op campaign, and unfortunately, what's the worst part of the co-op campaign?
I can't believe you can't talk during cinematics.
As soon as cinematics come on and like loading screens, our communication is completely disabled.
Really?
Yeah. And it's like,
that's weird.
There's so much stuff to make fun of. I was making all these comments that Sean wasn't even hearing. And I'm like, do we have to play over Zoom?
Because both cracking jokes to ourselves.
We don't even hear them. We probably made the same jokes, but that was disappointing. But other than that, I love the game. I think it's, I hate to reuse the word, but one of the most underrated and games of all time. It's really good.
It is strange how, like, I mean, when this game came out, it was amazing. And I think everyone was talking about it at that time, but it does feel like it's kind of lost its, glory as time has gone on. I don't know if it's because of the newer games that came out, or just that for some reason people don't like that, like, gritty, like Macho Man almost mentality or whatever. But
I think it's been made fun of a bit for that stuff, but
in a way that stuff's kind of refreshing at this point, hearkening back to it to some degree, just as like a change up to every other game. And like it is got very weighty but not slow mechanics. Sean and I were talking about this when we were playing, like the dash mechanic. I remember it being slower and more lumbering.
Roadie run?
Roadie run?
Yeah, I think that's what they call it. I think that's like what the mechanics call it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, but it's
like
way
the
more
low
fast
kind of run.
It just feels heavy.
With the handheld camera.
But it's so well done. The active reload, no game has done it as good as this game.
Yeah,
and
the active
emergence holes,
huge.
Like,
throw the bomb, a
great idea
to close them up. So much, like you're talking about player agency. All that is so subtle, yet adds so much to the gameplay in this game.
Yeah.
And even just knowing how to manage your bullets in the reload chamber, like, okay, I'm out of like my active reload bullets. I should reload again to try to get more back or whatever. You get to that level where you're actively managing these like tiny little things
And
to give you that edge.
the pacing of design, like there's always something new. Like it's a new scenario, like a circular area. Then you go into something very linear with new enemies. Then you get to the troikas. Then you get the hammer at dawn, and then you get this weird boss that you have to lure outside. Like in the first act, we did so much different stuff in a game that's primarily based on shooting. This game rules.
Yeah, and I mean, don't forget the co-op design. Like,
Yes.
there's a lot of cool stuff where it's like you have to split off, and then one person's shooting from one angle, or it's really well thought out. As opposed to, I mean, Halo games were fun co-op, but this feels like they took it to the next level.
Still,
Now,
I would say best co-op campaign ever made. I can't think. I'm
yeah,
maybe It Takes Two or Split Fiction, but not quite the same thing. Those are like curated, like
Yeah.
different
designed from
powers
the ground
different.
up.
Yeah,
Did you find that your memory of what the co-op campaign was different than now? 'Cause like the original was just split screen, I believe. I don't think it was online, and now it's obviously online. So
Oh,
you get
yeah,
to see
that's
more of the
interesting. I
screen,
never
more
thought
screen
about
real
that.
estate. I don't know if there was like a different feeling, a different vibe.
I
Because
think, well, it did have online play, but you're saying even the online version was split screen in
no,
the original?
I don't think. Well, I didn't think you could play. I think you could play online. I didn't think you could play online co-op.
I'm pretty sure you could because
Oh,
I
okay.
think that's how I played it
Oh,
originally
okay. Never
with
mind then.
our good buddy PC.
Oh, well, there you go.
hmm.
Never mind.
But yeah, I
yeah.
mean
I
it's
I played it locally when I played it, so I don't know
Yeah,
officially.
so did I.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I did do it again another time on insane difficulty with someone else online, and it was
Mm.
great. God, I love this game.
I do
Oh,
want to go back and play it. I want to. It's like one of those games. I was like, I should show the kids, and then you think about it. I'm like, probably shouldn't show the kids yet.
I
Maybe like
mean
a couple of
they got
years.
yeah, but at some point they got to learn about the chainsaw
Yeah,
gun.
cut in
It's,
half, cut dudes in half. I agree. That is something. Maybe when the wife is out of town, I'll bust this one out.
I bought a new game that I was like looking at new releases, and I forgot it came out this week, and I popped on it immediately. Everybody's Golf Hot Shots, one of the
Whoa! I thought you
worst.
said you weren't going to buy
Mm.
that
No,
because of the name.
no, I hate the name, but I'm definitely going to buy it. And it's really the same as every other version of this game. Just like it feels so dated in terms of menus. Like it's fine, but once I get into the golfing, I love it. Like it's my favorite like golfing experience probably of any game ever. And I would put like my favorite golf games ever are this Toadstool Tour for GameCube specifically, and which is very similar to this game. And the like mid aughts Tiger Woods games are phenomenal. So I'm glad to have a golf game that's fun and fast, and it's the same game it's always been, which is kind of good and bad. It's just if you like these games, no harm in picking it up. If you're looking for something new, probably best to pass on it or play like an old Vita version. It's almost the same game.
Okay.
I think it might actually be the same game as the mobile version or very similar.
Hmm.
So
Is there
not anything like revolutionary in this game whatsoever.
how old is the mobile version?
I
Has
feel
that
like
been around for
I
a while?
downloaded it 4 or 5 years ago
Hmm.
because this came out on Switch 2 as well. So even graphically, or I think Switch 1, it's like nothing spectacular how it's like this contrast of cartoony characters and semi photorealistic courses. I feel like that for current technology could have been way better. So I like it, but it's not impressive in any way.
Okay. I played a game called Elsewhere Electric. I hadn't been under the visor in a while. I was like, I gotta bring some VR stuff to the show.
Did you ever play that other one we talked about?
No,
What was it? Did you buy it?
yeah, Arcane Age.
Yeah, I bought it. I haven't played it.
Yeah, I gotta play it. I'll play it. Don't worry. But this is I guess it's sort of like a co-op escape room type thing, puzzle game. But the idea is one person's in VR, one person's on mobile device working together. I played it a bit with Alicia, and it was actually perfect because she doesn't like VR and gets motion sickness all the time. So I was like, okay, this will work. But it actually seemed like the person on the mobile device was not doing that much. Like she was kind of like, yeah, that was not that fun. Like they kind of just have a console of like different buttons with symbols on them, and you're kind of in the rooms calling out, oh, I see this symbol here, and they kind of have to hit combinations to activate things in the room you're in. But the weird thing is, it was just like the first 10 or 15 minutes, it was really hard to figure out what we were even trying to do at all. Like I got into a room and the lights were out and I could barely see anything. And I thought I couldn't even move. And then eventually I like realized, oh, if I went around this thing, I could actually move around the room and get closer to things. And then we figured out how to turn on the lights. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't get that far in it. Was kind of enjoying it, but it just seemed like they could have had a better way to ease you in and kind of get a sense of what the puzzles are going to be like. But it's if you're into kind of these asymmetrical co-op games, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it sounds like Keep Talking or Everybody Explodes in a more kind of campaignish.
Yeah, what was that other spy game that we played at one point? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, was that VR?
It wasn't, but
It was
same
first
kind of
person, though,
vibe.
right?
Yeah,
I can't remember what it's called. It was all right.
yeah.
I'll just say I've been playing a lot more of the Rogue Prince of Persia and been really enjoying that. I think the more I play it, the more I like it. The very satisfying loop of getting information. There's like story elements and mind map. And I feel like whenever I do a run, I get something useful and valuable, and I get a little further every time. It's got great management of progression in a roguelike, which I really respect, especially comparing it to something like Blueprints, which felt very stingy with how it allowed the player to progress with its economy of information and some stuff like keys and other things. But getting used to the combat and the platforming, and definitely recommend that game.
Yeah, I played a little bit more as well. It is good. It is very good. It just feels good to be kind of the platforming and the combat,
Yeah, has a game done like in a 2.5D game, a backwards wall run before?
I don't think so.
'Cause that's a great idea. It is might be the best idea in any game I've seen so far this year. In the comments, youtube.com/GameJunk, let me know if another game did that first so I can take back any credit from this game.
Nothing's original anymore.
I know, that's what I'm worried about, Sean. But that's it for me.
All right. One other game I played a bit of. This is a game called Chipwits. Now, it's also a puzzle game. Apparently, it's like a remake of an old Mac game, which I was not aware of. But it's kind of like a coding puzzle game, like compared to like something like Human Resource Machine, which I enjoyed. Maybe the Zachtronics games, although I've never really played any of those.
What's this called again, Sean? Sorry.
Chipwits.
Chipwits. Okay.
And yeah, so it's basically you're controlling this robot with instructions to accomplish different tasks, and not much more complicated than that. But if you're into that kind of puzzle game, it's pretty engaging. I don't know that the UI or anything, the visuals, they're kind of cartoony. It kind of almost looks like it's something for kids, but I don't think it's I think the puzzles are almost right off the bat at a level where adults would also enjoy, and I have been enjoying. So, yeah, if you're kind of in that zone, I almost would even compare it to like factory automation games. I've never really I've played a little bit of Shapes,
Factorio.
but yeah, I haven't tried too many of those games. But like I can see the path between them, and I'm like, maybe I should try getting into those as well because I do enjoy them.
Sean, I feel like I have to ask this. Did you get a
Yes.
review copy for this?
Yes, I did get a review copy for this.
Okay. Just checking. I'm like, how would you hear about this game? Or like, it doesn't seem like
Yeah,
something that
well,
would pop up just looking at it. So
it is one of those things that like the programming puzzle element of it jumped out at me because I was like, I tend to enjoy these kind of games, but yeah, it's weird because I feel like the name is supposed to carry some weight. Like people must know this original game that it's based on, but I don't. I'm not familiar with it at all. So
nice. Okay, cool. Looks doesn't look like my kind of thing, but it looks like it has some simple and like understandable puzzle design, which I think would be beneficial in a game like this. Like very
and
clear.
I could see it actually teaching people to code to some degree too. Like, I would say the same with Human Resource Machine, which kind of has little flow chart type things to teach you different techniques, I guess.
It's a gateway drug to programming. Wow, how
There you go.
very powerful. Will they have an AI integration for this game that just does it for you and
That's got to be coming.
hit tab to figure out the puzzles? All right. Anyone else have anything they need to say or mention?
Nope.
All right. Well, for those of you, I know there will be many of you who vehemently disagree with our opinions on Hollow Knight Silksong, feel free to leave it in the comments. Tell us what we're doing wrong, why we suck at this game, whatever you want. YouTube.com/Game Junk. Even better if you agree with us. Get loud in those comments. We need to push back against the Silksong mob. There needs to be a little levity here. So Discord links are there as well. Next week, not really sure. Any big games coming out this week? I don't think so.
Borderlands,
That's this week?
Whoa.
I believe so.
Fuck off.
There's something else
I thought
too.
it was like
but,
September 23rd. It's this week?
I think so. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. All right. Yeah. The 12th. Now, I don't know if that's deluxe edition exclusive or not, but no, it doesn't look like. Okay. Well, I don't know if I'm going to buy it. We'll see what reviews are like. But thank you for listening or watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.